I went on a date with a guy once, and the whole date while we're eating, every time I said something, he'd be like, me too, high five.
Oh my god.
We high five like at least 15 times throughout the whole day.
Oh my god.
I'd be like, oh, I like sushi. Me too. And he would like high five.
I don't remember who the artist is, but then he starts rapping to me. Yeah, this guy on the date is rapping at me.
I love the confidence. I wish I could be that confident.
I think I am considered Gen Z, but I don't think I talk the way that maybe other people do, because we would look at different art pieces and he goes, you know, no cap Kanye, like no slap schmacks, you know, like I was like, I don't know what that means.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then it will imagine, like, I'm glad that it was just 2 stories, but imagine every single like art piece. You know, he was trying to be like funny, but I was just
his
like
vocabulary no big.
No. Hey everyone, it's Nina, aka Psycho Food.
And I'm Tiff at Take One for the Road.
You're tripping on the road. But this is Just One Bite. Here we talk about content creation, life, food, and every bite in between.
And we have new episodes every Tuesday, so make sure to follow along. Today we're going to be talking about bad dates. Dates in general, but mainly the bad ones.
Yeah, I think we have had like our fair share of like good and bad dates, but then also we have a lot of stories with permission from our friends.
Yes.
That are anonymous about their worst dating dates.
Yeah, and just dating in general now. I feel like dating has changed over the years, and it's kind of a struggle these days, like on the girls and guys side. I think both men and women are finding it harder to date and finding like their compatible match.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. I feel like it's so hard to like really click with people nowadays.
Because it's social media.
Yeah.
I think social media kind of ruined at least online dating, because it makes people think that they always have other options and things like that. So I don't know, the date stories and just my dating experiences have gotten worse and worse over the years. So we can go ahead and I guess begin and dive in. Well, I mean, maybe we should start with yours, because you had a few before you found your perfect match. JD. Hi, JD.
Shout out.
So why don't you share first, and then we can go with mine, because mine is never ending.
Yeah, so. I think it's definitely hard in the dating scene, especially if you're not on like dating apps or if you're just trying to meet someone in person. But I've definitely had connections with people that I thought would be okay, because maybe it's from a friend of a friend or whatever like realm of social media that there is. But I think there's 2 dates in particular that really stand out in my brain, and it's ingrained. But I did go on a date with this one dude where he and I had gone to like a brewery, which I think it was Golden Road, which is in Anaheim. And so I thought that it was chill so far. It was just like a quick introduction from one of my other friends. But I would say it was more of a hangout. I don't know if it was maybe a date, I'll be honest. But we went to the brewery, and then I didn't really drink, and I don't think I was really into beer at the time. And I was still kind of getting the hang of drinking it. And the only flavor that I really liked was this mango cart that Golden Road has. And so I thought that it was good, at least as a location, because there was people nearby. Like there's someone who would see if I was needing some help. I could go to like maybe the bartender or something. And then the conversation was good at first, but then he started talking about, he's like, oh, like have you heard of this like low-key artist? And I was like, who? And in my head I had some suspicions, because he was Asian, I'm Asian, and I think one of the reasons why we had clicked initially, like on text, was because we gone to Head in the Clouds, which is like that.
Wait, don't tell me he was like Keshi.
Yeah. He was literally like, oh, let me show you this low-key artist. And at the time, there was this trend on TikTok that was like, oh, like, pretend that you're the Kevin Wins out there, and they do like a parody of what a Kevin Win would be like. But I thought he was doing that, but he was dead serious, and he was like, oh, do you have Spotify? And I was like, you don't have Spotify? That was another thing. Like, you just don't have that app on your phone to, like, how do you even listen to Keshi? Yeah. And then he, like, pulls out, like, he was typing, like, Keshi on, like, my Spotify. He's like, oh, see, this song, it slaps, and I'm blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I haven't heard of this song, but I heard of him before, because I was just trying to be nice. Yeah. And then he starts singing to me.
Oh, wow. He's serenading you on the first date.
I was literally like, this is so wild. And we are in public at this brewery. And I will say, we weren't like tipsy or anything. I feel like, if anything, I've only drank like a quarter of my like beer.
Yeah, wait, so is he an aspiring artist?
No, I'm pretty sure he was in IT or something, but then he's like, oh yeah, like
alter ego.
I was like, oh, and then he was like, oh, but let me show you this other song. And then I think the song is called His and Hers, for another, I think it's like a rap song, but I don't remember who the artist is. But then he starts rapping to me. Yeah, this guy on the date is rapping at me.
I love the confidence. I wish I could be that confident.
I think it was just a little bit of a shock for me, because I haven't been rapped at to, you know? And it was not maybe like an intimate like thing that I think he was probably hoping it to be like.
You were like, Spotify rap? And he's like, no, Spotify rap.
And I was like, I don't think this is very like cool. And then I remember texting my friend like, oh, like I need an out.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, but they were close by, because they already knew that I was going on this date. But then
that's good. It's good to like let your close girlfriends know in case they need to bail you out or give you an emergency call.
I also don't know if I had a specific face on, because I maybe might not have looked that I was enjoying it. And so I think when I was like trying to say like, oh yeah, I think I might have to like go soon, and this was like before my friends came, so I just really wanted to like leave. He's like, oh yeah, like I can walk you out. And then he like pulls out a vape, which it's fine if you like vape, but he's
not on the first date.
Yeah, and then he was like, you know, I love this like bubblegum flavor. I don't know what the flavor was, but it was just like, oh, and he was just like boasting about the flavor. And I just see, as I'm like walking out, this couple who's like looking at me and they're like kind of like smirking because they see my face and they hear the conversation of this guy.
Oh, they know it's a first date.
Yeah. And then
I feel like when you go out and people next to you on a first date, you can tell just by conversation and eavesdropping. So they knew you're on a first date. They could probably tell you're a little bit.
Yeah, and so I forgot to mention this. I forgot to mention this. This was us closing the tab, so that's why there was someone nearby. Okay. Yeah, and then this is us on the way out. But I was like, that was not the best situation, and maybe I shouldn't have been. Actually, I don't know. I don't think I would have guessed that someone was gonna try to rap or sing at me either. Yeah.
First dates are very unpredictable. I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the most unpredictable date, my second one that I don't think was the best, and this was like actually someone that I met before I met my current boyfriend.
Wait, so the last guy, the brewery guy,
that was like a couple years ago,
and so he only got the first date, right?
Yeah, and then and and I'm pretty sure like I unfollowed him or I unblocked him or blocked him or whatever.
Okay.
So so not a good guy.
All right, second date. Okay, so second guy.
So this is a different guy. I went to the Orange County Museum, the one that's in Costa Mesa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like OCMA or whatever. I don't know.
I always want to pronounce it as OSHA, but I know that's wrong because I know that's the school
that's my
went
school.
to.
But this is a museum, and it's only 2 stories, and it was new. It came out, I think, in like 2022, or opened in 2022. And so this day, I think we had like another like introduction from a friend, but I feel like our conversations were pretty good. I remember like FaceTiming him beforehand, which we should go into later. You should always video call. I think that's safe because then you
I have a story for that.
Yeah.
Well, my friend's story.
We'll save it for
then. We'll save it for later.
But on this date, for when we went to the museum, I was like, okay, this guy seems cool. He seems safe. And then when we go to the museum, I felt that his language, the way that he talks, is very different than my way of talking, because it was like very Gen Z, I guess. And I think I am considered Gen Z, but I don't think I talk the way that maybe other people do, because we would look at different art pieces and he goes, you know, no cap Kanye, like no slap schmacks, you know, like I was like, I don't know what that means.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then it will imagine like I'm glad that it was just 2 stories, but imagine every single like art piece, like, you know, no cap, this is this, and I was like, I think I know he was trying to be like funny, but I was just
his
like
vocabulary, no big.
No. It's no big. It's no big. That's so funny.
Man.
Yeah, but I think if he didn't talk like that, maybe it would have been better. But
imagine if you date someone and that's all they can say, those 3 words. They can't use any other words to describe.
I definitely think there was more words, but I don't know them, so I can't repeat the story the way that I want to. But it was really like, no Kanye, this.
It's just like
thing, you know?
Gen Z slang.
Yeah, and I don't know it, unfortunately, but it was very difficult, I guess, for me to really like look at all the art pieces, because too, I feel like in a museum you kind of have to be a bit more quiet. And so he was saying all this stuff and I was like, oh my god, I feel like people are gonna listen here.
Embarrassing
too. And I remember him being like, oh, like, why do we have to be so quiet, like why is it? And then I felt a little uncomfortable by that, but then that was the last day.
Last time you ever saw him?
The last time I did. Actually, I'm not sure. But I do feel like that was the last time I saw him. And then I had. For me, the conversations other than that were good. So I did end up like, I think calling him or something that I wasn't interested. But that was after like a week or so, or 2 weeks after that date, because I didn't want to go on a second date. Yeah. And then right after, I had met my current boyfriend, so that one worked out better.
No, thank goodness.
Yeah, seriously, but those are my worst experiences for dating. But I don't have too many stories, but maybe I'm also exaggerating the way it was, but I don't think you can exaggerate more than a Kevin Wynn who's talking about Keshi, and the guy who says no cap about all the art pieces at a museum.
Imagine every art piece is just
I'm literally grateful
Gen
that
Z slang.
Seriously, I'm grateful that it was only 2 levels. Because if I was at the Getty, you know, that's a really big museum.
Yeah, all day.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. That's bad.
He'd be like, slay, no slay.
I think if I was with a girl, that might be a little funny. Because if it was that, I think that would be more funny. If I went with Tiff, like, slay, no slay. Like,
but
I
on
think
the
we'd be
first
laughing.
date,
Yeah.
it's a little cringy.
Yeah, and I thought it would be more calm because it's a museum, but it's whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, what's your fair share of stories?
I have so many, Nina. We could be talking about this for 2 hours and I would still have more stories.
What do you think is like the worst date that you've been on?
The worst day? I might have blocked out some of the really bad ones because I've been, you know, like, I feel like I've been on the dating apps for many years and it was on and off, so I've seen how online dating has changed over the years.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I think it was a little bit better than it is now. But I feel like nowadays, height fishing, I like created a word,
height fishing.
It's not just catfishing at least in my experience, guys have catfished me, guys have height fished me.
Wow.
So I've been on a couple dates with guys who lie about their height, which is, I get it. If it's 2 inches, I let it slide. I automatically assume nowadays on the dating apps, whatever your height is, I just subtract 2 inches and I assume that's your actual height, which I'm fine with. You know, but when it gets to when you're lying like 4 or 5 inches,
It's a lot.
it's a lot. And I don't understand what you think, like how that's gonna help you, because like, yeah, maybe you'll get the date, but then when you show up to the date, the girl's gonna think, oh, you really lied to me. And I'm a very understanding person, so I'm like, I'll let 2 inches slide, but 5 inches, like, come on.
Did someone do 5 inches for you?
Yeah, well, so there's one instance years ago. I was pretty young. I went on a date. The guy said he was 5'10".
Yeah.
We showed up to the date, and keep in mind, I'm 5'4". I show up to the date. I maybe have small booties on that are 1 inch, max 2 inches. So that would max put me at 5'6".
Yeah.
Show up to the date. The guy and I are eye level.
Oh,
So that would mean he lied at least 4 inches, maybe even 5 inches.
that's a lot.
It's a lot. And then it didn't help that the date was super awkward. We sat there, didn't really talk much. And you know me, I can have a conversation with a wall. You know? I can yap, but it was really hard having conversation with this guy. And it didn't help that his voice was really, really, really squeaky.
Oh,
It was like, hi, my name is...
no.
It sounded like a really, really squeaky mouse.
That is
so
so
I was
bad.
really caught off guard. So maybe you're right in the whole, like, you should FaceTime or at least have a call with someone before the date. I have not learned my lesson. I keep going on these dates without doing the FaceTime and the calls because, I don't know.
You should just call them and be like, oh my gosh, this was an accident. Just play it off like
Maybe.
stupid. Not stupid, just like, you know how girls, they can play like dumb a little bit? Yeah, but then that's the way you could just be like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to call you.
I'm the type that, like, I want to give everyone a fair chance.
Not everyone is created equal.
yeah, not everyone's created equal, and I feel like I'm trying to just be really understanding and be open-minded. But anyways, this was a few years ago, so there was no second date after that. But mainly because I think he lied so much about the height that I'm like, what else are you hiding? What else are you lying
That's
about?
true.
And then maybe a year ago, I went on a first date, and on the app, the guy said he was 5'10".
Yeah.
And then I show up to the date, and I'm wearing boots that are a little bit higher. So maybe I'm now like 5'6", max 5'7". The guy shows up, we're eye level. So he's for sure not 5'10".
Yeah.
But what I thought was funny was, so I, during the date, we weren't really compatible, so I just asked to be friends.
Yeah.
And then later on, I see him on a different dating app, and now he's 5'11".
He grew.
He grew an inch. I was like, so yeah, so that I thought was really funny.
Oh my gosh, he grew an inch. That's wild.
Yeah. So fellas out there, just
say your height.
just put your real height,
Yeah.
you know?
Let them know what they're coming into.
Yeah, I get a lot of girls out there, like, they want a guy to be like 6 feet tall and stuff. Like, I don't, like,
Same.
you know, I don't need a guy who's 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
So I don't know, don't lie about your height.
Yeah, I feel like too that standard of being at least 6 feet. There's not a lot of guys out there, I feel, that are just 6 feet, and then you're already subjugating yourself to only guys who are over 6 feet. Like, what about all the guys who are not 6 feet and maybe they have a better personality too? So
Oh yeah,
like,
honestly.
so girls, don't vote it out. But
Yeah.
if you're lucky, awesome.
Yeah, it's like great, but don't write off like guys who are not 6 feet tall, because there's plenty of really cool guys out there.
They're very cool.
I
Short
just
kings.
yeah, and I'm just waiting to meet one, but you know. So yeah, there's that, and then catfishing. Oh, this is a good story because
Why?
it involves me and my friend.
Oh no.
So I matched with this guy, and we, like, his pictures were like, oh, he looks cool. Like, it seems like he has a lot of interests, a lot of hobbies that we would have in common. And we talked for a bit, and then we decided to meet up for a first date. Show up to the date, and then I see this guy approaching me. Looks nothing like the pictures.
No.
Nothing. So in all of his pictures, he didn't have glasses, which is fine if you show up with glasses. But the fact that it was like, I don't think he was the height he put he was.
No.
He was definitely not the weight he put he was. And then the glasses, I think he needed to get new glasses that fit his face better.
Yeah.
Because they were so tight on his face.
Oh,
it
wow.
was like goggles. And every time he would lift his eyes, the glasses left a really major indent.
Oh no.
And it looked like when you're about to play football and you put the paint.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it was like so indented because it was so tight that it looked like he put red paint across his cheeks.
Poor guy.
So, but I was trying to be open-minded because I was like, oh, maybe this is something he's like insecure about.
Yeah. But
But I try to be open-minded because I was like, maybe, you know, he has a great personality.
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But I was trying to be open-minded.
Yeah.
And, you know, I sat through like a date with him for 2 hours just trying to get to know him, talk to him. But in the end, I just didn't feel like we were compatible at all. And then fast forward a couple months later, I was at lunch with one of my good friends, and she and I were at lunch, and she said she's gonna have a date later that night with some guy. And then I happened to have her phone, and then she gets a text from a guy whose name sounds really familiar, and I was like, I think I know that person.
Was it like a unique name or?
It was an Asian name that it wasn't that it was unique enough where there could only be 2 people that I have in mind with that same name, right? And she was like, oh, it's the guy that I'm gonna go on a date with.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, show me his profile. I guess he basically texted her to say, hey, sorry, something came up, like, can we rain check? Or like he says he didn't feel like driving to her area, can we rain check? I don't know, it was a little bit already kind of weird. And then I was like, show me his profile. She opens it up, shows it to me, and I was like, girl, save your time. Do not, like, you don't need to even reschedule this date, because she was already kind of iffy about him. But she was just trying to be open-minded, give him a chance, because I think dating nowadays, it's just like hard, right? So you're just trying to give everyone really a chance and see, like, maybe someone will surprise you. But she was already iffy about him, and then him basically wanting to rain check because he didn't really feel like driving to her area. But
that's already so telling.
Yeah. And then I was like, I looked at the pictures and I was like, I went on a date with him and he catfished me.
Same pictures.
There's
Wait, so is it a catfish because it was an older version of him or something?
Yeah, it's older version of him. But I mean, if you have 7 pictures on your profile and they're all like from over a decade ago,
wow,
that look nothing like you now,
a little creepy.
It's weird. I think, you know, use an updated profile picture, because if it looks nothing like you, it's basically it's very, very misleading. But I basically told my friend, and I was like, I'm gonna save you a couple hours of your time. Like, he looks nothing like his pictures.
Oh no, that's sad. So she never went on the date with this guy?
No, she
That's
never
good. Did she block him or
no,
whatever?
she just didn't try to reschedule a date with him.
Okay, that worked out.
Yeah, but here's another story. So the same friend, recently, I would say in the last month, she's been on quite a few really bad first dates, and these are pretty bad.
Recently?
Yeah. So we'll start with another catfish story. We think is a catfish story. So basically, you know what? I'll start with the very first out of 3 bad dates that she's had. The first one, she has a date at a coffee shop. She's gonna meet the guy at the coffee shop.
Okay.
And he ends up running pretty late. So she tells him, like, no worries, like, take your time, no rush.
Yeah.
So she orders herself a coffee, and she has a book on her, so she's just reading her book until he gets there, right? And then he gets there, and he's like, he sees that she ordered herself a coffee, and he was like, oh, I would have gotten you that, or I would have gotten you coffee.
But she's already been there.
Yeah, exactly. So she's like, oh, no, don't worry about it. Like, I got myself coffee so I could just sit here and read my book.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna get something. Is like, do you want anything? And she goes, I would love a cookie. And he's like, got it, I'll be right back. He goes, like, takes a few steps to go order the coffee, gets his coffee, comes back, no cookie.
She's dumb.
I'm just like, what the heck?
Yeah,
and
you already offered.
Yeah. And she was just like, well, and I don't think she wanted to make him feel bad, or I don't know what his intent was behind that, because maybe he somehow forgot, which I don't think is possible, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt, right? And so she's like trying to get to know him, things like that, and then he goes to use the bathroom, I believe, and then when he comes out, she was like, oh, I think I need to, like, go home now. And he's just like, bye, walks out.
Without like giving a pause.
Yeah. I'm like, he's like not a gentleman at all. I don't know. I just think that was so rude.
That is very
awful.
rude. Yeah.
And if he wasn't interested, like, I'm trying to see it from his perspective, there's still, like, gestures of, like, I don't know.
There's still some kindness, like, if you show up late, like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, let me make this up to you. Yeah. Or at least maybe at the end of the day, like, oh, well, like, I feel like there's always, there could be that, like, awkward tension at the end where even if you maybe don't like them, you could just be like, oh,
like, it was nice getting to know you. Like, bye, right? Instead of just be like, bye, and, like, immediately walk out.
Yeah, that's really rude. How long was that date then?
I'm not sure. I'm assuming probably, like, at least an
hour or so.
Maybe less. But
at least it was an hour.
Yeah. But very weird. And then the second date she went on, so she was trying to be, or so she matched with this guy, and he, I guess, loves pickleball, plays all the time. He's like, I'm so good at pickleball, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And my friend over here has never played pickleball, but she's like, you know what? I would love to try. So they set up a pickleball date as their first date, which I thought was so cute because he could teach her.
It's active too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like something different than just getting coffee or going to a bar, getting drinks or dinner, right? And so she shows up to the date, she parks, and from her car, she can already see the guy, like, circling all the courts.
Okay.
Basically looking for a court. But as someone who doesn't play pickleball, she knows you need to always reserve a court. I know that too. I don't even play pickleball. So for this guy who is always playing pickleball and knows how to play pickleball, he didn't reserve a court for their first date, which already is kind of weird.
Yeah. Like,
right?
how much, I think that gauges how much you think and commitment wise you want to give to this person.
Yeah, and it just shows lack of effort.
Yeah.
And then he was like, so you want to, like, go for a run or something?
What?
I don't know, something like that. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
So I think they ended up just walking around the park as their first date.
Yeah.
But after that, there was no second date, right? She immediately was, like, weirded out by him, I guess. So
yeah, that's a little weird. I feel like they wouldn't put effort, or they just don't know how to date. So if you're really considerate too, like, let's say that you're going to a restaurant, like a nice restaurant, I think sometimes you can kind of wait, but I think it's also very courteous if they come, like, they maybe go in a little early, place their name down, or they make a reservation. But I feel like it's not always necessary. But also, pickleball is a very popular sport, so there's always going to be people, and sometimes you might be even competing with people who are playing tennis. So with that toss around, how can you expect to get a free court? Was it on a weekday or weekend too? Or
I feel like it was a weekday, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I feel like it's still kind of busy.
Yeah, it's gonna be busy. But first, especially if you play pickleball a lot and you're so good at pickleball, then how would you not know? Then how do you not know to book a court?
Yeah, and I feel too, if you play pickleball all the time, you just know what maybe parks have the better, like, like free courts and stuff too. True.
So
point.
it was weird. And then third guy she matched with on Hinge, I think, and they really hit it off in the beginning. She was really excited for once because they both had something in common. They both liked like a certain food item at Taco Bell, and then they were like, okay, let's schedule a date. We're gonna go to Taco Bell, right? It's like very cute. So but it would be like a week from whenever they started texting, and then during that week, I think she started feeling a little weird about him.
Why?
Because he started sending texts that were a little love bomby. But then I was trying to tell her, you know, maybe like I get it because I've been love bombed before too, but also it's like, don't completely write the person off because maybe he's just nervous, maybe he's just really, really excited to meet you, you know. So then I suggested to her, I was like, why don't you FaceTime him, and then if you're still getting weird vibes, then you don't have to go on that date and you can save your time, but maybe, you know, get to know him and see what the vibes are, because maybe you guys will hit it off. And you know, I don't think first dates is always like, I feel like just because you don't have the perfect first impression or date with someone doesn't mean you guys won't have a better experience together later down the road. So always just keep an open mind. So she's like, you know what, that's a great idea, I'm gonna FaceTime him. So they schedule a FaceTime date, and then that date like arrives, and he messages her on Hinge around the time they're supposed to FaceTime. He's like, sorry, my flight got delayed, can we reschedule? Or no, he doesn't even say, can I reschedule? Sorry, take that back. He says, sorry, my flight got delayed, I'm just getting into my Uber to go home now. This is around the time they're supposed to FaceTime.
Oh no.
And then my friend
Where's
was
he
like,
coming from?
No idea. And then my friend was like, oh no, it's okay, like no worries, like let me know if you need to reschedule or something like that. And he's like, yeah, looks like we might have to, which is weird because I'm like, you had something planned, and then you're like, oh, I guess I'm like, you could just it's like, first of all, why can't you just FaceTime her when you get home?
How long is this Uber drive?
Exactly, right?
Are you going somewhere after?
Yeah. And then so my friend is super understanding, so that night they go to, like, she goes to sleep, and then she wakes up the next morning to check her messages. He unmatched her.
That's so rude.
Right?
No explanation.
And they technically had a Taco Bell date scheduled. So that's why we think he was gonna catfish her, because why else would you suddenly vanish? Because you wouldn't want to meet like on a FaceTime call. You don't want to do a video
like
call.
Very sus.
That's true. So I was like, you know what, you saved yourself some time. He probably was gonna catfish you.
Wow.
So that sucked. And then she recently matched with another guy on Hinge, and keep in mind, he's the one that messages her, like, let's say like it was a Thursday morning at 10 in the morning, right? He messages her like, hey, and they talk for a little bit, and he's like, when are you usually free for dates? And let's say she says, oh, usually I'm free Tuesday nights or like Thursday nights, whatever. And then he says a couple hours later, he responds and goes, well, my work is really busy right now, and I don't know when it's gonna not get busy, but I'll get back to you whenever like my project like dies down or is completed.
Then why did you ask?
Exactly. I'm like, sir, first of all, why are you on the dating apps? Second of all, why did you even message my friend that morning and ask her when she's free for dates?
Maybe it's some power trip because they want to appear that they're busy. I don't know. Could be because like maybe they want to portray like, oh, I'm such a busy person, like, oh, I have so many things lined up, oh, like, or they could be like, I'm such a busy person, I care so much about my job too. So maybe it's their...
No, I think they're weird.
True, but it is weird that
everyone is busy. You and I both know we're so busy, we spread ourselves so thin, but you make time for the things you care about, the people you care about. You prioritize things that are important to you. So either he just wasn't looking for anything serious,
probably,
or weirdo.
It is weird either way, because if you're not gonna be committed to try to date, and I know it's hard, but if you're not gonna be committed to the practice, how are you going to get anywhere?
And that's what I don't like about these online dating apps anymore, because guys will lie on their profile and say they're looking for something long term, and in the end they're not.
Maybe because they're trying to catch the people.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's why I've heard like Hinge sucks for everybody right now.
Really?
And that Tinder is actually the one making the comeback. And it's funny because Tinder is the one people would go on just for hookups now, but I heard people are actually having more success on Tinder than they are on Hinge. And like a lot of my single girlfriends have had really bad experiences on Hinge because all the guys have just been lying.
Yeah. But isn't Hinge the one where it's to promote long conversations?
Yeah, it's the apps that it's like meant to be deleted. But yeah, we're deleting it because we're out here in the trenches, and the men are just not it. A lot of them want princess treatment.
Yeah.
It's either they want princess treatment or they're threatened by successful women.
Ew.
It's very interesting. But I always thought maybe the girls are just having it rough. But then talking to my single guy friends, now I'm understanding, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
And a lot of my guy friends are struggling to find
like a
girlfriend too, because some of the girls are very princessy.
Yeah.
And rely on them to basically chauffeur them around, and I get it. So it's like,
that's pretty sad too.
Both women and men, we need to really pull our own weights here and step it up.
Yeah.
Because relationships are all about like 50-50 or not 50-50, but you gotta bring something to the table too.
Yeah. So. No, that's true, because you can't just be expecting princess treatment for someone that you don't know, and they don't know who you are. They don't know your little nuances and stuff. But that doesn't mean that you should be a jerk either. Yeah. Because everyone is allowed to be polite, and I think maybe that's something that's missing. Just because you were saying the guys, they weren't really showing being gentle, like being a gentleman. Yeah. And same thing with girls, like, I don't know what they're like, being a lady. Yeah. Maybe that's what girls need to do. They need to be more like ladylike. Polite. Polite. Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to be like girly either. It's just
just communicate, kind. I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just communicate and just be kind. I think nowadays ghosting is like a huge thing too. I've been ghosted plenty of times and it sucks, and people are just left kind of hurt or wondering things. And I know, I think what sucks about the dating culture these days is once someone gets hurt, they hurt the next person.
That's so sad.
You're just in this toxic cycle. Everyone's just in this circle, hurting, like being hurt themselves and then hurting the next person they're dating because they were hurt themselves, and we have to break that. I don't know.
I could believe it, because there's a very lack of humanity now and just being kind to others. So people just are so used to being mean or being negative, and they just continue to be, like you're saying, in that cycle. So it's very sad that negativity is sort of easier, quote unquote, because it feels like you're protecting yourself by being negative or being closed off, but I feel like it doesn't help you nor help the other people who are maybe trying to enter your life. But yeah, I think obviously there's different characters out there, but you can always still be kind and just be hopeful. And if it doesn't work out, I think you don't have to respect everyone, but you can give people the decency of like an answer.
Yeah, because there's been so many. I mean, even recently, right? I've had. So I'm gonna tell the Korean barbecue story. So recently, Nina, me, some of the Disney girls. So Karen, Sam, and then their partners. We all went to Korean barbecue for dinner, and I was the last one to show up because I was trying to buy Sam a birthday cake. And so everyone was already seated when I got there, and I gave the cake to the waiter, and I was like, can you please put this in the freezer? And then after our meal, I asked the same waiter, I was like, can you bring the cake out? And then he brings it out. but my car keys for some reason were on top, frozen on top of the cake.
Like Tiff fully left her keys on top of this cake, and the restaurant put it in the fridge.
I gave the waiter my keys, and I was so embarrassed when he brought it out. I was like,
"Are those my keys?"
Yeah. And he was like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so sorry." And he was like, "It's fine, don't worry about it." So I take my keys, I take the cake, we eat the cake, and then when he leaves, the girls were like, "Oh, he's cute, you should leave your number."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm okay," right? But then I think it was Karen, she's like, "Can I get his number for you?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Y'all do whatever you want, I'm gonna go to the boba store next door." So I left.
Yeah.
And then I think Karen and Sam went up to the waiter.
Yeah. When we mostly left, Tiff bolted to the boba shop, and then me and our friend Carolyn were waiting for Sam and Karen talking to the waiter.
Yeah.
We're just like looking, but we're also looking at Tiff just hiding like 5 stores down, not looking back.
Yeah,
But-
so they ended up getting his number. They were like, "Oh, can we get your number for our friend car key girl?" And he, I guess, gave it to him, or gave it to them.
Yeah, and I think Karen showed. Oh no, wait, Sam had a picture
Yeah.
ready to show the waiter, like, "Oh, this is, by the way, this is the girl
This is car key
again."
girl. Yeah. So then I waited a couple days, and then I ended up texting him, and we texted a little bit back and forth for the week, but we basically were kind of trying to make plans to meet up, to hang out and drink and stuff. And we talked for a week, and then I kind of was trying to put the ball in his court to choose a place, because I already felt a little bit like I was carrying the conversation.
Yeah,
so-
because didn't you suggest what to do for the date?
Yeah.
But it was kind of in his court to choose, okay, take that idea. Where can you implement that?
Yeah, because he goes out to drink way more than I do, so he would know better, right?
Yeah.
And around this time, it was like when the LA fires were happening. So I had evacuated, and we both agreed like no K-Town. But he drinks plenty, so he
Yeah.
would know a
Maybe
place for us to go.
alternative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I basically was like, okay. So we were supposed to meet up either like a Saturday night or the following Friday. But he didn't text me back till that Saturday really late at like 11 p.m. And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I just got off work. It's been really busy." And I was like, "Oh, it's fine. Like, we'll just plan to meet up on Friday. But like, you choose the place." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, let me think about it, and I'll choose a place, and I'll get back to you." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I texted him. I was like, "Okay, yeah, let me know." And then the man leaves me on red and never texts me back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you were not interested, why did you even waste my time talking to me for a week? Like, were you
Yeah.
just looking for a pen pal?
No.
You know? So
Yeah.
it's just kind of annoying when that happens, because I could have saved myself a week of time not talking to you.
Yeah, you could
protecting my
have just
peace.
not responded back.
Yeah.
Obviously, that might not be like the nicest thing that you would
He
hear.
could have just been like, "Sorry, I have a girlfriend."
But we didn't know that because he accepted it.
Yeah. But I wish, like, if he wasn't interested in me,
he could have said something else.
he
is
could
what
have
you're
just
saying.
said like,
Yeah.
"Sorry, I have a girlfriend," you know.
That's
So it's
true.
like, you saw me in person, you know what I look like,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, like, I'm funny because like I know when I was texting him, it was like funny.
Yeah, I
you
think
know?
you had better, like, I mean, you're a bit better though at trying
Yeah.
to keep the conversation
Yeah.
light. Yeah.
So got ghosted or left on red by him. What else? I know. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple guys I was talking to on the apps. One guy, I think he's just really into snowboarding and skiing and has an
Oh, yeah,
icon
yeah,
pass.
yeah.
But we were talking back and forth or he was like responding really fast up until I mentioned I only usually go snowboarding or skiing once a year
Yeah.
with my friends, because I don't love it, but I'll go in like because my friends like to go. And right when he found that out, he ghosted me. And I'm like,
I wonder what it is about guys, what they're thinking. Maybe they just feel. There's like a few things that I'm thinking of. Maybe it's because guys are shy, so they don't know how to carry the conversation. I'm not saying that it excuses them, but they just don't know what to say in that moment. And then instantly, if something feels like wrong, they think, okay, maybe she's not interested, or because I go in.
Dude,
But this is an assumption that I think a lot of guys end up coming to, that they're like, oh, it's probably not going to work out. And then they're a bit more simple with deciding, okay, it's not going to work out. I
guess.
Yeah.
Very weird, though, because it's like, it's not that I would never go snowboarding with you. I don't know. Very weird.
Yeah,
but
maybe it's
he needs to find his icon pass queen. It's his snow queen, so it's fine.
It's okay. Well, you should next time you should show that ice castle video.
Yeah. I could be your snow queen. No, it's okay.
Yeah, TIFF has gone to, it's like an ice castle thing,
yeah, it's
right?
like man-made with icicles, hand-built. And they only do it in the winter in certain cities.
Yeah.
But it's stunning. But it's really cold. It's like 30 degrees.
Yeah, TIFF posted this video of, and I think you've posted pictures too of her in this blue dress in the ice castle. Yeah, it's very winter-esque. So for the Yetis out there, get your snow princess.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, I feel like sports are kind of hard because I think girls, they might not like be into the same things that guys are really like into.
Yeah. Oh, well, that reminds me of Squirrel Boy.
What's Squirrel Boy again?
Squirrel Boy. Remember the Squirrel Boy I was talking to?
Okay,
last year. He's the one who really liked to run, and then it was really hard making conversation sometimes with him, so I asked him if he wanted to go catch squirrels with me.
yes, I remember. And then it's because here there was a bunch of squirrels, right?
Okay, so around springtime, we'll put pictures and videos, but around springtime in Santa Monica, hundreds of squirrels come out and they lay across the grass and it's literally filled with squirrels, like hundreds, thousands of squirrels. And so around that time last year, I matched with a guy, and you know, the first date was fine, and then we both had like Coachella in common, and but he really, really likes to run. I don't really run, but you know, try and be open-minded here. So we had a couple dates, and then we also met up at Coachella, and then I would try to keep conversations going because it was a little bit dry. So one day I texted him, I was like, have you seen the squirrels on your runs? Because we both live in the same area and I know he runs around here. And he's like, no, what do you mean? And so I sent him pictures, and then he was like, what the heck? So I think after that he started seeing the squirrels, and so now we call him Squirrel Boy, which I think is so funny. Girls never call guys by their actual names. We always have like nicknames. Yeah, so it's like
you have very unique nicknames for
it's like based on, you know, the guy I'm dating at the time. So it's like the guy,
I forgot about, I think I remember him as the guy from Coachella, but I forgot that you saw squirrels with him.
So he's Squirrel Boy. You know, like if a guy I date has like a PhD, he's PhD. He has a Cybertruck. His name's Cybertruck. You know, so basically with Squirrel Boy, I think one time the conversation was getting dry, and I was just like trying to gauge if he wanted a date or not. So I was trying to initiate like the next date. So I was like, you want to like what are you doing Wednesday? You want to go catch squirrels with me?
You're with your nets together.
Yeah, so we went and we walked along the path and we just talked, and but it was so funny because that was the day it was so windy out. There was no squirrels.
They were flying around. They were flying squirrels at this point.
One day I needed squirrels out.
Gosh.
There's no squirrels.
He's like, this girl, she told me about squirrels. I'm not even here.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, so after that we got Go Greek.
As you should.
Yeah, and then he walked me home.
Yeah. And
then we talked for a couple, like maybe a week or two after that. We were still texting. And I know he was traveling to Seattle for work and stuff. And I remember he like got back from Seattle, and then he texted me like, just got back, me tired. Which is weird because he usually doesn't talk like me tired. It's usually pretty formal talking. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. So then my friend,
me big, no big.
Yeah. So then I responded, welcome back, tired. Thinking it's like clever and cute, right? Never heard from him again.
Wow. No, that was funny. I would have laughed.
Right? But it's also like we've been dating for a couple months. and I know I'm the funny one. He was not that funny.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's because I didn't like to run. All he liked to talk about was running.
Yeah.
And all the running shoes he has and all the running gear he has. And I was like, want to catch squirrels? Want to go on a run and catch squirrels?
I feel like no, that you appear more unique. You know, I feel like you are pretty funny. So.
Yeah. So
maybe they just don't have the same humor, which I think
is
really
fine, but don't ghost me.
Yeah, you've been talking and you've met up in person
for a few times.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry that's happened to you. No,
I know.
It's okay. I feel like it's not okay, but it's going to be okay because there are better guys, I think, out there who are more committed and more like willing to go on dates. Because like what we were saying earlier, like I definitely think I know guys who are still single now, and it's equally as hard for them to get have a good connection with someone, because it's hard out there, and sometimes people have a very interesting like way of dating, I would say.
Yeah,
so.
I wonder if it's because people are looking for someone that checks off every single box.
Yeah,
but I know that's not realistic. So I try to be very open-minded. And that's why I also think I don't really have a type when it comes to dating. Because if you look at everyone I've dated, everyone I've been in a relationship with, they're so different across the board. And that's just me trying to be really open-minded, because I'm just trying to connect to the like just like their hearts and their souls, you know, and their personalities. And so I don't go looking for someone who fits a certain type, because I feel like I would be doing myself a disservice and writing off other people who maybe don't fit that look, that type, but could be a better compatible partner for me.
Yeah, I think personality, as much as that's a very like generic answer, I think that's what people should look for when they're dating, because I think looks can always kind of change. Like, you can't really change it, but you sort of can change it.
You can, like, you could change a guy's hair.
Yeah, and it's like instantly different.
Yeah, instant glow up.
Yeah, and then you guys can always like live like an active lifestyle together too. And I feel like the way that you present yourself to the world, like maybe like the way that you dress too, if you're confident in it, it obviously exudes your personality too. So I think looks are not, I think, as important, but it's definitely a plus. But personality is maybe lacking because people aren't going out as much, because maybe that's the flip side, because we've been stuck in COVID. I don't actually know if that's a result.
Know. I mean, I go out, but I don't know. It's just hard, because if I didn't have to use the dating apps, I wouldn't. I would rather meet someone out and about organically, because I think I just attract more people in person, because online my pictures are not the best. I'm like not the prettiest girl, you know, but in person I know my personality really shines, right? But then even organically it's not working either, because look at the Korean barbecue guy, you know. So
no, you exude beauty like outside.
Oh, thanks, Nina.
Literally. But I think it's hard, because I think social cues might not be as sharp, I think, for everyone. So I think you definitely have a plus too, because I think your personality makes people like you more, and I think if people see that, it's only, again, like a plus for you. But yeah, I don't know how people meet like organically anymore, because if you're not in school, I feel you probably won't meet anyone. But then also hard. If you do meet someone in school, chances are you might not. I don't know how long you would last either, because I do hear a lot of relationships, like there are so many that I know who they've kept their college sweetheart or their high school sweetheart, but I think most of the time people break up after college.
Really? I don't know. Now, looking in hindsight, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have spent so much time studying at the library and like focusing on my career. Like, if I could go back in time, maybe I would have tried harder dating and finding a partner and less studying. I don't know if maybe don't listen to that advice. No, you know, but like because of how the dating world is now, I'm like, maybe I should have tried harder to find a partner when I was younger, because yeah, I don't know. It's really, really hard right now. I have a lot of single girlfriends, and we all have similar bad dating stories. And they're all just pretty like not great and getting worse. And I don't know where some of these men find their audacity. It's insane.
Yeah.
So
But,
yeah,
you know, I understand that too, because if maybe the way when you get older, people get more and more stuck in their ways, so it's very hard to outgrow that. But I think if you're young too, you shouldn't put too much pressure, like, because you're in school too, like you're going to school for your career, you're maybe in your career, you're just trying to grow. Because for me, I didn't really date until like later, like after college, and like way later to like, even for my boyfriend now, like it was just like a couple years ago that we connected, and I've already been out of school like since then. So I think it helped me because I have still stuff to work on now, but I think it's good when you're in a good state for yourself and then for your life path, because when you're in your best state, then someone's going to come along at the right time for you, because you don't want to, like, I feel like I totally believe if you're not in the right maybe like mental state, or if you're not at your best, like at a best chapter or version of yourself, it's really hard to attract people during that time. And what happens if you attract someone who, if you're like in your worst, for an example, and then you attract someone, and then I think usually if you're in that state, you'll attract someone similar to you. Same token, if you're in your best self, you attract someone who's in their best self too. Yeah. So I think it's good when you're still young and you're able to fine tune yourself, like figure out your likes and dislikes. And I think it's okay to like date and stuff, but I think it's good. It's really important to just know yourself like the best way, and things will be just around the corner for you. That's what I think I felt.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I'm
just always
sick of dating.
Just stay on in that mindset. Like every time like a date doesn't work out for you, that right person is just around the corner. Like it's
one step closer.
Yeah, you're
to
one
the right person.
That's exactly my mentality. And then I met JD.
I know, and you guys are so cute and so happy, and I love you guys so much.
I think, but always keep that mindset, because I think that keeps you a little bit more in the hope than just being stuck with someone who it didn't work out, but you know it's fine, because then you would have, if you ended up with that, whoever those bad dates that you ended up with, or if you ended up with them, I don't think you would be happy later on.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's hard,
it's
but
hard.
You'll find it, and then once you get it,
so.
The reward is going to be so much greater.
Oh yeah, no, I hope so. I'm hoping. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like I'm not religious or anything, but I must be like God's strongest soldier, because I keep coming back from war injured, and he keeps putting me back
out on the special forces.
I am, and it's like I'm so exhausted.
Yeah.
Every time I go back on the abs, I feel like I'm signing up, like I'm getting drafted for the next war.
The next round.
Yeah, and I'm just like so tired, because I think I see other people and they've dated like they found their soulmates instantly, or they've only had to date like a couple people and then they found the person, and I'm over here like been on millions of first dates.
You find someone.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, you are the strong one. You're the. That's like, I like that way.
I don't want to be strong. I want to be a soft princess that just goes to Pilates and just can relax and chill. Like, oh my goodness.
Your Yeti man will find you.
I hope so. I'm so tired of first dates and having to. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe what's an advice that you would give to people like still hoping out there, like aside from
to stay optimistic? And I know it's easier said than done, because I too am sometimes like I roll my eyes at myself, you know. I'm like, shut up, Tiff. Like, it's hard to not be jaded, because I think a lot of times I in a few years ago I was really jaded when it came to dating. But when you go into dating with a negative mindset, you're only gonna you're only gonna have bad experiences. So I try to go in very optimistic, very open-minded. The first date, like, I've learned, like, it's okay if there's no, like, fireworks and sparks, and to give it, like, at least a second date, as long as there's no red flags and you are slightly attracted to someone or you think they're interesting, go for the second date, because you never know, right? On the first date, someone might be really nervous, really shy, and so dating is all about getting to know other people, getting to know yourself, what you like, what you dislike. So I would say just keep
the open mind,
and, like, if you want a partner and that's something you're looking for, you're not gonna find it sitting at home complaining about wanting a partner. You need to go out, you need to go meet people, you need to go, like, you need to do the swiping for the online dates. I know it really sucks, and as a girly who's been really through it and in the trenches, I get it. Like, guys suck, girls suck too, for all my guy friends out there who are single, you know. But I think what keeps me optimistic is that I'm surrounded by people, like all my close friends. You guys are in really good, long-term, healthy, loving relationship. I see that, and I'm just like, that's what I want. Like, may that kind of love find me. And that gives me hope, because without that, I think I would really just not believe in love. But because I have really great examples of what healthy love should look like, and, like, the guys, I'm really hoping there's guys out there still who represent a lot of, like, my close male friends who are in relationship with my close girlfriends. And so you just gotta, it's a numbers game too, right? You just gotta keep putting yourself out there, keep going on dates. The more dates you go on, the more likely you're gonna meet your person. And if you don't meet your person and it doesn't work out, at least you're learning something about yourself. So I don't think it's ever wasted. It is wasted if I think, oh, here's another thing, like, I think going into these dates, go in, be honest about your intentions, and try to at least get the other person's intentions as well. You know, you can't control if they're going to be honest about it, but you can at least set the tone of what this relationship is or what you're looking for, so that you guys are on the same page, so no time is wasted. There's definitely something to gain too, for you're not gaining from them necessarily, like, oh, what do you give me per se, but if, like, on these first dates, I mean, you can always take a lesson from them. And like Tiff was saying, like, maybe it's something about yourself that you learned during the date, or the way that you want to be treated, that's also good respect towards yourself. So there's always something to learn. But even what we were saying earlier, there is kind of, like, when you go in, you have to be, like, willing. And I think that's the greatest gift that you could probably give someone in the moment of, like, dating, and expect that in return. But a lot of things, and I know it's hard out there, but if you guys want more advice, let us know. And I think it would be really cool if we see, like, if anyone comments down below, like, if you have any we want to hear your stories. Tell us your stories, or even email it to us. Like, if you're okay with us sharing it anonymously. I'm sure there's gonna be people with even more wild dating stories. I know. And we'd love to share it with everyone if we have your permission. So send us an email. But if you're also just looking for advice too, I feel like both Tiff and I have had our share of experiences, and even from our friends too, like, what they learn from. I think it's, don't give up too. There's always hope. For dating. But you'll find your perfect. Stay positive. Oh my god, this reminds me. What? One more bad date story. She's like, the high five. Really quick before we finish. I went on a date with a guy once, and the whole date while we're eating, every time I said something, he'd be like, me too, high five. Oh my god. We'd high five like at least 15 times throughout the whole date. Oh my god. I'd be like, oh, I like sushi. Me too. And he would like high five. And I'll be like, so that is so weird. I mean,
That is crazy. He's probably like just wants to like expel the energy, but can't do it within the confines of a restaurant. A lot.
I mean, he was a nice guy, but it was too much high-fiving for me.
High five! All right. Well, we'll see you in the next episode next week on Tuesday.
And make sure to like and subscribe here and Instagram at justonebitepod.
And Just One Bite Podcast on Spotify.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time. Bye. I almost said next time, but it's like a mix of let's go and next time.